My name is Davis Wardwell. I'm 18
My name
years
is
old.
Lisa
My name is
Hannon.
Noah Blunt. I'm the student pastor here
Trio
at Westside.
Glenn. I'm actually Charlie's cousin.
David Thomas, here with Charlie.
Austin Gregory. Thank you for having
My
me.
name is Donovan
My name is
Jones.
Micah Aver. I'm a student at Lounge High
All
School.
right. Well, Mr. Charlie, you're going to lead us out here tonight on your Young Minds podcast.
Welcome back to the Young Minds Podcast, and today it's just going to be a short episode, just for just with me. But I just wanted to sit down and talk about, kind of reflect back on 2024, but also look towards the future of 2025 and tell you a little bit about where I think God's leading me to go. But I think, it's been a crazy year just to start out in 2024. With everything we've had over 100 episodes, we hit that. When did an episode with Davis, that was really, really cool. To sit there and he interviewed me, and to tell you the questions he gave were, if you listen to that episode, it's still up and you can still listen to it. But if you listen to it on the day when it came out, thank you, because it was a really, really cool episode to sit down and do. And I'll definitely do more of those. I've already sat down and we started talking to do maybe some more things with him as well as some other people. So I'm excited for that. And I've actually already, at the time of recording this, I've recorded with 3 people for the month of January. So I already know who 3 of the January lineup's going to be. So get ready for that. But in terms of 2024, lots of things happen. We got the t-shirts at the beginning of the year. We're selling those. Went on my first mission trip because of the t-shirts. And that was all God right there, allowing me to sell them in the abundance that I did. And then, and just watching this podcast grow and the people wanting to be on, which is such a blessing. That people don't even realize is that, when they ask me to be on, because a lot of times I have to ask people, hey, you want to come on or whatever, and that's totally fine, but it's really cool when people have an interest and they want to come on anyway, and, really, they really have an interest in what I'm doing and what that means to me. Me and Davis were talking the other day, and I was just like, man, because he's one of these people that really believes in what I'm doing, not that everybody else doesn't, but it's just you can really tell in the way he talks to me, and we talk about it. He's really, he really sees the vision of what I'm trying to do, and that really, I appreciate it so much. And I know there's plenty more people out there that I know that see the vision of what I'm trying to do, and that support me in that way, and it means a ton. But with that being said, we, like I said, we did a lot of stuff in 2024, lots of episodes. We did 100, and we are up to 114 episodes with this one. So, you got to think that's almost 50-something episodes in a year. And so, like I said, we did a lot, but I want to talk about 2025 as well, and we'll kind of circle back around to some of the 2024 stuff too. Is, we had the shirts, and, they're popular, they're cool. At least they're popular around where I'm living at. And, I see kids and everybody and adults wearing them, which is so cool. They're wearing it to the north side and other places. And it's just it's really cool to see that logo out and about. And the verse, of course, on the back of their backs. And, of course, I want to make more stuff, like hoodies, hats, and things. It's been a bit slower with, with trying to figure things out. But I think that'll be something that we'll get to in the future. But the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about, me and then everybody else that I've kind of sat down with, like kind of like my consultants, I guess. I wasn't going to do it, really, because I thought it'd be more work. But, the more I thought about it, the more necessary it might probably became, and that would be to put all the episodes on YouTube. And let me tell you, that was a really enormous task to do at first. But then once I got in the groove of it, it really didn't take that long to do. So all the episodes, including this one, it'll be on YouTube. And then there will be a link down in the description of Spotify and Apple for you to go subscribe to the channel. And that's another thing I want to talk about too is, I really want to try to make this a full-time thing at some point. And the way to do that, of course, is if I make some income. Just being transparent, and YouTube and merchandise and things would be a great way to do that. So if you could just go subscribe, maybe like some of the videos, comment on them, boost them out, send it to people. And if you're somebody who has done an episode with me in the past, your episode is probably on YouTube if I've not told you already. So please go and share your episode. You go subscribe if you hadn't already, and then tell your friends to subscribe as well. I never wanted to say sound like I'm sounding like a YouTuber, but I have to now just because I'm putting all the episodes on there. But also, it's also kind of a fail-safe. So say if something happens with Apple and Spotify, if it ever kicks me off the platform or whatever, I hope it never does. I'm praying it doesn't. But if it does, YouTube's always there, and I can upload and continue to do episodes to YouTube constantly. And I will say, this year for 2024, it has been, a really good year. But in terms of me planning for things, I've got this big long list of people who, for 2025. But the devil does not seem to like that a lot, because I'm getting a lot of, there's a lot of doubt in my head, oh my gosh, can this be pulled off? Are most of the people that I have on this list going to say yes? And, that just tells me that those episodes probably will happen, and that they're going to be big. And I was thinking about it the other day. It's is this pushback and this doubt, is this is this trying to show me that maybe Phil Wickham's episode will happen sooner rather than later? And I'm praying that does, because I've mentioned it a few times. And if people don't know what I'm talking about, Phil Wickham, a singer-songwriter, Christian singer-songwriter. I'd love to interview him, and not just for the fact that it would be a cool thing to do, but, just to see, how he is as a person, and how he walks with God every day. Because you're up on stage with 13,000 people watching you. How does that affect you, and how do you keep yourself humble during the times when you're up there performing, jumping around, singing about God, right? And not making it about yourself. So that's kind of the main goal through that. And also just, to get it out to a more of an audience, not to say that I haven't, God hasn't already. Because God has brought, people's stories out to many, many different audiences already. And with YouTube, it'll be even bigger one once people start noticing it. And, and I just think there's endless possibilities we could do, to try to make this thing grow. And I'm really excited just to see what happens. I didn't expect for it to go this long. Technically the Young Ones podcast is in its third year now of running episodes and interviewing people, which is crazy, to think. And I'm going to probably do some different ideas here this year. I've got some ideas with, like I said, Davis earlier, and we're going to probably sit down and do an episode on a certain topic, study it and really hammer down on it, kind of like what me and Mikey did back in the first 10 episodes. On episode 9, when he talked about a Christian work ethic, we're going to focus more on one topic, rather than just their stories, which kind of change things up a bit and keep things fresh. And also too, it'll be people, the ones that do that, it'll be people that will be it won't be their first time coming on. It'll be people that have already been on and they've told their story. So that you're familiar with their story. Now you get to hear some other of their thoughts and things like that. And I've also got one that I've been kind of talking to two people about, to have them on at the same time, and it's going to be a fun one, I think. Who knows, I might have to just, maybe get some popcorn for it, because it's going to be a long episode, because they probably won't stop talking. But you know what? That is what's going to be the fun part about it. And I would tell you more about it, but I want to keep it a surprise. But the thing... So one of the things I also want to do with this year is also expand in terms of locally. You probably noticed that a lot of the episodes, they come from Northside, which is wonderful. I love interviewing my Northside people. However, there's a whole community that I live in, with different churches and different people inside those churches. So I want to try to, interview some of their pastors and some of their people inside of their churches, and, just get more of a community outreach rather than just, hey, I'm a Northside podcaster, right? So I want to reach out to all the communities, or all the different surrounding churches and everything, and I've already started doing that. Lord willing, all those episodes will work out. But like I said, I think every year, I think it gets harder and harder to plan something like this, because, because what I want to try and do every year is, go bigger and do bigger stuff and see where God takes it. And, you know, obviously the devil does not like me doing that. However, you know, we have to keep pushing. And I know there's people that are praying for me, which I appreciate, because it's not easy. The temptations are sometimes really strong when it comes to doing something like this, because I remember when I first started this, I jumped straight into ministry doing this pretty much right after I got saved. It wasn't long after. And so, you know, I've been having to kind of figure it out along the way and how to do it. But Lord, I pray that I've gotten better and better at it as I've done each episode. Even these, I hope the solo ones, I've gotten a bit better. But, you know, because I know that I don't do as many of them, but sometimes I love to sit down and just do these and tell you guys where my headspace is at, like where my planning is and where we're going to hopefully go in the future. But Lord willing, I'm praying that really, you know, a big episode come, like, you know, a Phil Wickham one, or a, you know, I don't know, I'm just spitting out names, Forrest Frank, or Brandon Lake, you name it, like one of those, you know, an artist like that or somebody of that nature, just so I can, you know, get it out to more people. Because again, I'm saying that in the sense of they have a big following, and these, you know, the people that have already come on and told their stories, there's some amazing stories and they need to be heard. Like, you know, and I just don't have the reach right now to get their stories out to, I mean, sure, they're out everywhere. You know, you can listen to it anywhere you want. It's just that making people aware that Young Minds is a thing, and that, you know, you can listen to anybody's stories that has been interviewed before. And, you know, these stories are so amazing to sit here or to sit wherever and listen to people's stories every week is an absolute treasure. And I've said this before, said it on the 2-year anniversary. You know, sometimes it's not easy to remember everybody's stories. It's not, I can't, because I've done over 100 episodes, but to be present with those people in the moment and talk with them, that's the main thing. It's sitting there and being present with those people. It means the world to them, and you can tell it. And also, too, like, some of the, you know, in a recent episode I just recorded for 2025, tell you the rabbit holes me and this person went down. It was so fun, and that's one of the things I love about these conversations, is the things you can get into and the back and forth you can go into. And also, I think, too, thanks to Davis's questions, you know, we've been able to age up the podcast a little bit, you know, like kind of go into some of those deeper waters that I normally wouldn't have touched beforehand. You know, it's like certain controversial topics, but the thing about it is, you know, because I was telling somebody this the other day, I said, you know, at first I wasn't going to touch it when I first started the podcast, or whatever those topics may have been. But I realized, you know, who else is going to talk about it if we can't beat around the bush and just like, you know, like hint at it. We have to just talk about it. You know, because then nothing will change if we don't. And, you know, so we've started to kind of integrate some of the tougher topics in there. But it's been fun to talk about. You know, it gets people's gears going, and, you know, like in a good way, it makes them think. And, you know, and not really a compliment to me, but also like to Davis and to, you know, how God uses these questions. Every time, you know, I interview somebody new, they're like, man, these are some good questions, because a lot of people, a lot of them, they do want the questions beforehand, which I get it. You know, you want to be prepared. Other people, they don't. And so you've got people who they look at it, and I'll tell them the question, they're like, man, like, I got to think about that for a second, because that's a really good question. And I love questions like that. They can get people thinking on the spot like that. And, you know, I'm excited to see what questions God allows me to come up with in the future. And excited for the interviews, too, like I said. Just keep praying about the Phil Wickham interview, or any other of those artists like that. But Phil Wickham's the main one, I think, right now that we're trying to reach out for. You know, and I think it would just be, you know, so cool to me. And also, you know, it's on a personal note, like reasons why I would do it, or trying to do this, is because, you know, God's given me the story of, you know, that, when I was born, I didn't even know that, or like doctors didn't even know if I would be able to do anything. Walk, talk. I can definitely talk, but walk, talk, do anything, you know. And, you know, just to say that, you know, look what God can do. He has allowed a kid with cerebral palsy that didn't know what his future was going to be to interview, you know, one of the world's greatest Christian artists, you know, or famous Christian artists. You know, so that was how I'm putting it in perspective on the personal level, and not to, like, I don't want to sound big-headed when I come across saying this at all. But it's just, that would be, you know, just for me on a personal note, that's why. And also, you know, to also hear about his experience with, just performing and not getting burnt out, because you do a lot of touring and a lot of jumping around, and a lot of singing, night after night. So what does that look like? But, if anybody wants, has suggestions on how to support me or anything, I'm all ears. You can leave comments on YouTube now. And also, I've turned on comments for the Spotify episodes. I forgot to mention that, but they're there. So you can comment on there. Give me feedback. Just be nice about it. And, Lord willing, this episode is going to go far, as well as the podcast in the future. And Lord, just I just ask for prayers, for the future. That even though the enemy's going to come after me and everybody else that's involved with these episodes, God's won the fight and won the battle already. And that we continue to do what God's called us to do. But I just thank you guys so much for listening this year and the years in the past, and I can't wait to see what God does in the future. With another episode of the Young Minds Podcast coming to a close, I just want to remind you that you are never alone and faith is action. So let's get out there.